What's going on, people? How's everybody's Sunday going? I'm getting interference here. Let me know if you can hear me. Some people were saying the mic sounded low last time, so I'm checking on that. And I'm still pulling up some things. I'm running a little late. I actually have some other engagements to get to a little bit later today. And but I appreciate everybody for holding me accountable for the time. So sorry about that. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Ryan Fagan. I am a real estate broker in New Jersey, in the USA. I also have done flips. I've done burr rental properties. I've been a real estate analyst. I have been a licensed mortgage loan officer. I've worked in property preservation after the housing bubble collapse of '08. I do property management and I also invest in apartments in Nairobi, Kenya, and I help other people buy there with Almasi Realty. It's our real estate company. In Kenya, we try to be a safe bridge for people looking to buy, whether they're in the diaspora, they're in the West, anywhere. We help also locally for people looking to buy, whether you're investors, buying for personal use, hybrid use. We try to help everybody. We take an advisory approach to just give you the options, give you the best information possible, and let you make your own decisions on what you think is best for you and your family or investment. That's our goal. You can go to almasirealty.com to check us out. I think our database is pretty good. At this point, give Ryan Kenyan citizenship. I'm working on it. If somebody want to fast track me, I appreciate it. Um, if you guys didn't know, I do some sports photography for a league in Philadelphia. It's a really pretty sophisticated league that I also play in, but I missed the whole season because I was in Kenya for 5 months. But I'm going to do some photography over there. So I have our team jerseys. I sponsor the jerseys, and these jerseys are my favorite. And this is the league logo here, Casa, so you guys can check it out. But in oh, shout out to all the African teams for the World Cup. Um, Ivory Coast is the first one to lose, other than Algeria. Shout out to DRC for getting a draw with Portugal. Cape Verde with a draw against Spain. What? Um, Ivory Coast looked good against Germany and then kind of fell apart. And then, of course, the USA looks like, are we gonna do something? We look like a top class team right now. We're beating the teams that we're supposed to. We used to struggle with like Paraguay and Australia's and teams like that. I'm excited. Unfortunately, the American consumerism and FIFA have made the World Cup such a money game that I'm not going to any of the games, and I feel like kind of took some of the excitement out for me. But watching the games has been quite good. How do you not support the USA? That's horrible. I'd buy a long sleeve of that. Yeah, we do have long sleeves actually. What's going on? We This is our white jersey that I like to wear during the summertime because it gets hot. And I lost a lot of weight. I'm excited to get back to play. I'm not really any good, but I think I should be better because I'm more fit now. Why don't we support the USA? That's crazy. Speak to an educated, enlightened, non-real estate Kenyan person. They will tell you the market is oversaturated. I was in Nairobi, and Gemini 1 and 2 is an eyesore. The diplomat, depending. So talk to someone that has no education. Hmm. I don't know if that's a good idea. And that's going to be what we're talking about today, actually, because I have a lot to say about this. And there was a video trending, and everyone, you got, anytime something trends in this topic, everyone bombards me with these videos that really, they trigger me, to be honest, because I don't mind people making claims, but you need to back it up with some information. And I think people just be running around saying stuff that sounds good, but if you analyze the logic or the supporting information that they're talking about, I don't think these arguments hold up. So, like, what's the basis of this? And so that's what we're going to talk about. Tickets are thousands of dollars and the ad break. Oh my gosh. I was listening to the commentary and they were like, that's the end of the first quarter. And I was like, what? Because they're doing the water break when it's not even hot out. And then it messes the flow of the game. I really hate it. I get it in some of the arenas where it's hot, but on the block you buy into, it could be a disaster. Come 28, 29, the prices will collapse. Look at Ghana. I need you to cite some sources other than just feelings. Like, why? Do you guys know that real estate bubbles happen once in a lifetime? Maybe. So, everyone running around talking about bubbles and collapses and like, maybe it's a language thing too. Like, y'all need to measure your language properly. If a slowdown or a decrease or a crash or a bubble popping are different things, right? Like, can we use the proper language to describe the things that we're talking about, not just go, "Oh my God, everything's gonna explode and go to zero"? Like, what are we talking about? He said, speak to an educated, not, oh, okay, sorry. My comprehension was bad. The reason why I said non-real estate is because they have no interest. Yeah, I get that. Arguments from lawyers, real estate agents, etc. will always talk about increasing value, and they have an interest. Yeah, for sure. They said the same about Dubai. They say it the same thing every time all over the place. And usually it's the people from the area that will say that because they can't imagine the place that they're from changing so dramatically. But there's a lot of money in the world. And when the world starts sending their money and investing and doing development, you're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see a lot of stuff happen. Hold on, dang, you guys can see my whole screen. See my setup here. Shout out to me. I wired this whole studio because actually this is like the control desk for when we do podcasts, and there's a whole set right behind us. Sorry, it's reversed, so I'm confused. Are the protests going to happen again? Yeah. I'm sure they're going to protest. Prices are increasing dramatically for real estate. Exactly. And then we're going to get into some of these Hoskett-Salt reports and some of these people that I think they're just trying to get clicks, and being a contrarian sometimes can get your attention. And it is, uh, what should I say? It's, this isn't good vocabulary, but it's pretty crazy the amount of development that we're seeing. And so I could see why if you just look around, you go, oh, this is too much. But that's like level one thinking about this stuff. And we're going to get into some ideas. Kenya and Dubai are not the same. Dubai invests in infrastructure. Kenya does not. Really? So then what do you call the Gong flyover? The SGR being built to Kisumu. What do you call the flyover at Kenyatta Avenue? What do you think about them redoing Arguing's Kodak Road? What do you call them fixing Wood Avenue? By Westgate, they're installing more drainage. What do you call all that? Is that investment and development, or do I not know what I'm talking about? What? Please tell me what. How would you define those things? I want to know. Is that not infrastructure or no? I don't know. The amount of restaurants and businesses popping up in Nairobi would say otherwise. Yeah. Wow. Why are there so many new things coming up? Maybe because there's more people and more money. Prices in real estate is increasing dramatically over the past years. The Caribbean and South America. Kenya is attractive in the West. Prices are double. Yeah, capital is escaping all over the place. I went to Pandora from the junction to the office, less than 200 meters. Took me over 30 minutes due to traffic jams in rush hour. Now imagine 300 flats on a single lane road with already heavy traffic. Yeah, that little market area and where the gas station is a pretty tough junction for sure. You were deflecting? You don't know what you're talking about? Let's talk about the single lane in front. Okay, so one road has a problem, and I just cited like 7 other road improvements, including Gong Road, which is quite significant, and Kenyatta Avenue, which you know goes towards the CBD and to Westlands. But you didn't address that. So how am I deflecting? You actually deflected by not answering my question. The quality of the businesses in Nairobi is world class and experience. I don't know about world class. I think some of the restaurants are pretty good. I hope the infrastructure improves. And I'm not saying the infrastructure is perfect, but see, if you're new here, we do something called balance and reasonableness in our arguments. Okay, so you very rarely will hear me say something is crashing or exploding. And you won't hear me say that this one issue is going to cause a catastrophe that's going to destroy everything in the market, or one single factor is going to make everything go up. Um, that's the like things don't happen like that generally. Yeah, pretty tough. Same thing with Gemini 1 and 2. The roads. There's like no traffic there in Brookside, so I don't know. Okay, guys. Also, let me just give you my background. I am on the land development and zoning boards in my town. I look at all the traffic reports. I hear all the town complaining when any new thing gets built. And they say, oh my God, the traffic is going to destroy this road. And then the thing gets built and it's fine. People are very dramatic and they I think you just think with like a base level of thinking about certain things like, okay, they're building 400 houses, so that's 400 more cars. And so 400 more cars equals much more traffic. But that's not exactly how that works because not 400 people are moving at the same time. Now, Nairobi, I actually think part of the traffic problem is that there's not enough, the roads don't connect to each other. So there's certain roads that you're forced to go on, and there's no escape from like you just have to sit there in the traffic because there's no alternative routes. Meanwhile, the next road over has no traffic on it, but it doesn't connect to where you need to go. That's a big problem. I think the Gong Road flyover, although it is kind of short, should help alleviate some of the traffic there, which helps you go east and west across the city. Um, the expressway has definitely helped. People don't like to use it because it costs money, and your Uber driver doesn't even want to use air conditioning because they think it's costing them more money, which is not. It's like a couple pennies. So it's just how people behave with that. Also, the lack of traffic organization. So when you enter an intersection, you have to look at everybody and see what everyone's going to do. And then you have to like force your way into the intersection. Now you're blocking the traffic. So junctions are bad because not just because of the road, but because there's no traffic organization. Everyone's just being chaotic. There'll be a matatu trying to pass people on the shoulder, blocking everybody. And then everyone gets all stuck and then you can't even move your car. So it's not even just the roads. Now, from that junction, which you know, drive on that single road past Pandora onto the other road and another traffic jam. I don't, once you get through that junction and you go past that market, I don't see traffic. And usually when I go to that junction, there's not traffic like that. But also, I avoid traveling during rush hour. There is no traffic on Brookside, but the road is a single. Yeah, so you're imagining that it's going to be too much. Again, comparing the US with Kenya is dishonest. See, okay, so I'm going to warn you that the language that you're using, how is it dishonest? Like, don't go crazy. Like, you could disagree with me, and I don't know why you want to trash Nairobi. I don't know if you're Kenyan or whatever, but like, I don't know where you're coming from. Brookside is very quiet and residential. And then you're saying Gemini is horrible and it will destroy everything's going to destroy everything. Like, what? Are you a drama queen or like what's going on here? Bro, I was there. The local authorities are basically non existent. What does that have to do with anything? Couple of pennies to you, not a local. The air conditioning? Okay. The reason it is bad is irrelevant. The fact is it is blah. I don't know what you're talking about. 90% of people go to work in Nairobi at the same time. So to fix the problem, they need to do more shifts, like in the States, first shift, second shift, third shift, so everyone is not on the road. That would be helpful. I know with our employees, I try to shift our schedule because one of our employees works in Gongtown or is from Gongtown. And if she's taking Matatus, her commute is really long, and I think that's not good for anybody, wasting so much like people's time doing that. So you have to shift your the schedule. At the same time, the road infrastructure does need to be better because I think some even like the traffic rules. I know and see this is the thing, they are trying to they're doing the I don't really think the speed cameras are the answer because it's not the speeding necessarily that's the problem. It's the organization of how cars are driving that makes things even more inefficient. Why the heck are there traffic lights at the ring road traffic circle? Like that doesn't make it like you can barely get into the circle before you have to stop again. It's really weird. You don't know what I'm talking about. Let me come on your live because you are pretending not to know what you're talking and me typing is not the same speed. Yeah, okay, come on. Okay, let's see. But you have to be on camera. So if you want to be anonymous, we're not doing it. But I'll drop the link. Let's see if you can make a good argument here. I want to hear what you have to say about this. How do you expect me to respond to you in real time? You can't type? Here you go. Click the link. You can educate me on what I have wrong. Because you said they don't invest in infrastructure was your claim, right? And I cited multiple infrastructure things that they're doing, and you still haven't responded to that because you can't type fast enough. Ted, what's going on? I don't know if he's trolling or if he just thinks he knows something, but let's see. Let's go. Let's make this live fun. What's going on, Andy? Oh, shout out to Moore's in the UK. Member, I didn't even bring up my this guy's derailing the show, but I have time today, so let's talk about it. Because you see, like, I don't know why people on the internet do this, but like you're disingenuous. You're intentionally saying this because you have ulterior motives. Like, why is everything a conspiracy? Maybe, again, I see the infrastructure development that again you haven't addressed. Ah, here he is. Hold on, let me get the soundboard. Hello, Mr. Name. How are you? Hi, you're on here. You can hear me. Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. Okay.
Tell me what I have wrong.
Okay, what you have wrong? I'm hearing myself echo.
Let me see.
Hello?
Yeah, hold on. How can we fix this? Is that better? Go ahead, say something.
Hello, I'm echoing.
You're still echoing? Oh, I see why it's happening. Let me, is that better?
Hello?
Oh, no, now we can't hear.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, I think I know why. Okay, 1 second. We want to go to headphones. Where do we want the sound going? Go ahead, say something. I don't think he has me on YouTube. Is that better?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Yes, no? Mic check?
Hello? Can you hear me?
No, I don't hear you. Sorry. This is on my end. All right, now say something.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. Are you echoing on your
I'm
side?
echoing.
How about now?
Hello? I
Oh,
think that's better. Oh, I can still hear my echo.
it's playing yourself back to yourself.
Yeah, I think so. I've shut down the YouTube.
Yeah, shut down YouTube.
I've done that.
It's still echoing for you?
It is.
I don't know how to fix it right now. I don't know if you can fight through it or not, but
I will
I'd like
try.
to hear what your argument is.
Yeah, I will try, but I'm hearing myself back, so it's a bit hard, but I'll try. So let's talk about infrastructure. You mentioned all the flyover, the bridge, and all that stuff. That is not local government infrastructure. What I mean by infrastructure is, for example, in the US or in the UK, if you're going to come and build 300 new apartments, the local government will come and look at and say, can the local amenities support 300 new apartments? It's not the flyover bridge. That is more of a federal infrastructure. The local infrastructure in your neighborhood is what I'm talking about.
So hold on. First of all, I am on the local government that does this in my community.
In the US or in Kenya?
In the US.
Okay, we're talking about Kenya.
Okay, well, you're talking about the US. You said they're going to.
I gave an example.
I'm responding to your example because the basis of your example says that they come out and do a feasibility study on if the infrastructure is there. What I'm telling you is we do a traffic study and they count the cars for 2 weeks and they tell you the times that the cars come and all that stuff. You're saying they don't do that in Nairobi, correct?
I don't know about counting cars. The crux of what I'm saying is,
go ahead.
No, you want to start getting into minutia. The point is, there is an assessment done. Can the local amenities, not just the traffic, you have bin collection, you have schools, hospitals, whatever the case may be. There's an assessment. Can the local infrastructure support 300 new apartments? That's the point. How I don't want to argue minutia. Understand the principle.
Okay.
Now, I mentioned, I used Pandora as an example, and I'm glad you know the junction. I was up at that junction just to turn over and go to Pandora. We're stuck in traffic for 30 minutes. You said, oh, the traffic is because the matotes or whatever they are called don't know how to drive, and everybody, no one cares. The point is, you're stuck in traffic in rush hour. So why the traffic is blocked is irrelevant. The point is, you're stuck in there. Now, when you get through that traffic, you get onto the single lane. Yes, once you're past that junction, there is no traffic. You get on the single lane. If you drive past Pandora and get to the other junction, where you join the major road, you literally have, depending on, you might be stuck in traffic there, but you have open pieces smelling there. Literally, when you're stuck in traffic, you have to wind your window up. So telling me that there's some local government, it's not. You speak to Kenyans, what do they tell you? They tell you private splendor, public squalor. I learned that phrase in Kenya. So trying to compare the Kenya and the US is not it. Talking about the bridge or whatever. You go to Gemini 1 and 2.
Let me address everything that you said, okay, right? So you're saying that junction is problematic, right? And you say you don't care why it's problematic, which means if you don't know why it's happening, then you can't fix it. So basically,
I'm buying an apartment. I'm not fixing Kenya.
What I'm not talking about you buying a specific apartment. I'm talking about how these things are addressed and the development of the city as a whole, not just you buying Pandora. If you feel, and I say this about different projects, that like Riverside, I find that Riverside has lots of traffic and it's only one way in and one way out, or really it's just one road. So you either go to James Kashuru or you go basically towards Westlands to get out of Riverside. That's a problem. I tell people that. What I'm saying, though, is that is a problem isolated to those specific areas, and the government is doing things to address some of these things, which I've cited projects that is an investment in infrastructure, which will alleviate these issues. So if you buy, say, Riara 1, which is near Junction Mall, or near Gong Road, 300 Woodley Village, these places over there, now you're going to have an improvement in the traffic situation, in which is evidence that the government is improving things for people and the way that the development is happening. So I'm not saying that every place is perfect, but what I'm saying is that Kenyans will also say, yeah, he's right, it's horrible, everything sucks. At the same time, my observation is that things are improving. Is it perfect? No.
Okay. Things are improving. Nobody said that's not the argument. Nobody said it's getting worse.
So what is the argument?
The argument
is your main argument. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. The argument is these apartments. First of all, there is going to be a glut of apartments. One, that's the point I'm making. And two, some of these apartments are not what they are promised. When people buy into these apartments and realize the everyday problems, those apartments will be on the market. That's the point I'm making. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning Gemini along with Pandora is because Gemini is going to suffer from the same problems as Pandora. Now, what do I mean? If you've been to Gemini, first of all, the road that leads to Gemini right now is a very beautiful, quiet residential road. As soon as you turn onto the road, it gives you the impression that it's a fairly wealthy / well-off neighborhood. That's the impression you get. Now, where they are building Gemini 1 and 2, first of all, the way the apartments are even being built, I can say a lot of things. I don't even know where to start. The space, first of all, by the time they are built, it's going to be overcrowded. It's almost going to be.
How do you know? What's the capacity of that road to say that it's overcrowded?
It's single carriage. Again, that's
how
why
many cars per hour can that road take before it's overloaded?
I don't know. This is false. This is a false debating point.
Okay.
It's a single carriage road. Let me finish.
You're using your imagination and not any data.
Yeah, again. This is the point. You're trying to argue facts that or
Facts,
trying
yeah.
to
I am
bamboozle
arguing
me.
facts.
You're trying to bamboozle me with facts. I didn't go to Kenya to
I'm just
start
asking
measuring
you.
the traffic. The point is, where you have Gemini 1 and 2, across the road, there's another set of high-rise apartments.
There's
There's
a
another
lot
set
right
of
there.
high-rise apartments
It's a
behind
problematic
Gemini.
site.
So you have 4 high-rise apartments being built there on a single carriageway. There is going to be traffic jams, whether you like it or not. You can measure the cars all you want. The fact is, there is going to be traffic jams.
How do you
One,
know that?
two, because I'm African. I know what happens in Africa.
So
Two,
every African knows that. Just by the
again,
nature of being
you're
African.
looking for, these are not argument points. People who understand what I'm saying would understand exactly what I'm saying.
I
Now,
understand. You're
when
just
those
using your
apartments are,
feelings to say I'm African and I feel like when they build a lot of
I
development
didn't say I
right
feel like.
there.
I said I know because I have lived
And I'm
experience.
asking you, how do
Thank
you
you. I
know?
have
And you
lived
said because I'm
experience.
African.
You are an American. There are things you would know simply by being in America, and you would use your experience of living in America to say, this looks like this, but trust me, it's not going to play out like that because you've lived there. You have lived experience. So these arguments you're making, and you're trying to poke holes to make me sound as if I don't know what I'm talking about. I was there.
I think
I looked at these things.
you
So
looked at them.
when you have that road, and I can even tell you, by the time those apartments are built, the houses on those roads are either going to drop in value, and you're going to have very angry neighbors because that road is going to lose its quiet residential
Well,
feel.
absolutely. That's a fact.
Exactly. So again, did I go into the future to see these things?
That's why you do studies and you come up with
No.
facts about how many
But
cars per
using
hour
your
are going to go on
argument,
the road.
hold on, using your argument of did I measure the traffic? If I'm telling you now that that residential road is going to lose its quiet residential feel when you have 4 high-rise apartments, if I'm not mistaken, Gemini alone, one of it is about 280, and the other one is about 200 and something. I can't remember. There is one to the side, and there's one behind it. So even if those ones are another 200 and 200, so we're now talking 800 apartments.
How many cars are produced from 400 units of an apartment in Nairobi?
It's,
Per
again,
hour.
you're
You
trying
don't
to make
know.
arguments. People are
I'm
going to
making
be.
this.
Let
So
me
this is
explain
how
why I
you
say
make a
that.
real argument.
No, I'll explain why.
You're just
That
saying I'm
I would
African and I've
explain
seen it.
why. I would explain why that's an irrelevant point. Because even if the people who live in those apartments don't have cars, they are going to be having Uber deliveries. They are going to be having Ubers picking and coming and picking people coming and going. You're going to have bikes making deliveries and whatnot, people coming and going and so on and so forth. So the traffic will increase. If you have people
It
who
will
are going to live
increase,
there as
obviously.
their residential homes, then they are going to be going to work and coming home, and the serenity in that neighborhood right now will be lost.
I
You cannot
agree
add
that
800 apartments into a neighborhood and not expect things to change. Come
I
on
agree
now.
with that. I agree with that. What I disagree with is when you're saying that it's going to be backed up the traffic and they're going to have Ubers and everyone's going to be stuck. That's where I disagree with you. I agree that if I had a house next to Gemini, I would be very upset because now they're towering over your house and then the area is different and then you have a lot more coming in and out. I agree with all of that and the complexity of the area or the makeup of the area is changing. I agree with all that. Where I'm disagreeing with you is the claims that the first thing that you said was that they're not investing in infrastructure. And then
Yes.
my second argument is how many cars are produced so that you know that it's going to be too much traffic from these buildings? Because from my experience and my observation, first of all, many of these places, if they're hotel style, they're not fully occupied. They may be running a 50% vacancy rate. So out of the 400 units, there's 200 people. Then this is where zoning and design comes in. How is their entrance and exit flow of traffic? So many of these developments, they might only have one entrance gate. That's going to cause traffic when 2 freaking cars come. So you're going to have problems even with low volume. Meanwhile, if you design the property properly, which this goes to planning and maybe that things need to improve, that's going to make a big impact on how long the car is there. For example, the Luminara project has an internal loop. So when people are dropping off, they're not stopping on the middle of the road and blocking off the road for the traffic that's coming. They can drop off inside the loop and then exit the loop without having to turn around or do all kinds of stuff to navigate their car. These things are very important to talk about when you're talking about city planning and the design of these developments. And you can't just blanketly say 400 units equals horrible traffic. The whole area is going to suck, and therefore stay away, sell your house, and get out of there. And this is the magnitude of the argument is what I'm coming to. And you say, oh, well, who cares about they're adding this road, they're adding that. But that matters.
Okay, so let me say this in a careful way, because first of all, I love Kenya and I love visiting there.
Mm-hmm.
So are you telling me now that before, don't forget there's a Gemini 1 and Gemini 2, and there's a building behind Gemini, and there's a building to the left of Gemini, something like that. Are you telling me that those 4 apartment blocks are somehow coordinating the traffic flow in the neighborhood? Is that what you're saying, yes or no?
No, what I'm saying is that your entrance gate and how you have the enter, like some of these developments have, like you try to enter and then you get stuck because the turn, like I have a big truck. Sometimes I have to back up and then turn and then back up and turn. So people are stacking up behind me. It doesn't even matter if there's a lot of cars because it's poor design and now it's blocking up the road. What I'm saying,
it sounds like you're agreeing with me.
No. What I'm saying is that it depends on the particular project and the design of what they're doing in those areas.
So there are 4 projects.
That's not the argument.
Hold on. There are 4 projects in a very concentrated spot.
Mhm.
Gemini 1, Gemini 2, the one behind the one to the left.
Mhm.
Are you telling me those 4 projects have come together to coordinate traffic flow? Yes or no? Because if they have, great. If they haven't, what does that sound like? Chaos.
I'm agreeing that the planning needs to be better with those things.
I rest my case then. If you're agreeing with me, then I rest my case.
But do you know what their entrance and exit plans are?
I don't.
So then how do you know if it's bad or good?
I will tell you why. Because
I'm
if
African.
okay, if you want to build 4 apartment blocks in that neighborhood, you would first of all need to expand the road network. There's nothing being done on the road network. All that is being built, yes, all that is being built.
How many cars is it going to generate?
Let me finish my point. All that is being built are the private apartments, which again comes back to the phrase which I said earlier: private splendor, public squalor.
It's a good sounding thing.
I learned it from a Kenyan.
I know.
If that Kenyan is watching, I'm giving him full credit. Yeah? I didn't come up with that. So again, if this is what the Kenyans who live there are saying, that should ring a bell.
So explain to me how other cities have multiple apartments next to each other, but don't have horrible infrastructure. And some of them are one carriageway each direction.
Other cities like where?
If you go to New York City, there's
exactly.
apartment.
So,
the whole place is that.
So you're comparing. So this is why I said earlier that what you're saying is dishonest, because you're comparing New York City with an African city.
It's just city planning, though. Like,
yeah, exactly.
What I'm asking you,
a lot of things, city planning. You know, in Africa, we're still fighting malaria. In those same foreign cities, malaria has been solved. So don't compare two. Don't do this. Don't do this.
That's where the mosquitoes are coming from.
Don't just wake up and start comparing New York with this thing. Somebody said in the chat.
Why can't you do the same planning?
Because the levels of government and investment in infrastructure is different. Come on.
It's not this money spending, it's the planning.
Somebody said in the chat that somebody said the same thing about Dubai. Are you really going to compare the infrastructure planning in Dubai with Kenya?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, you're saying that it's not they're not capable of doing it. And what I'm saying
I
is,
didn't say
just
anything about the
because
capability. I didn't say that. You're trying to put words in my mouth. The point I'm saying is, right now, I'm not seeing it. Those apartments are going to be ready in most of them 2028 or whatever. At the end of the day, if a foreigner is coming to buy an apartment in Kenya, they are coming to buy. It's not a necessity buy. It is almost a luxury buy.
Mhm.
You don't want to buy your luxury holiday getaway apartment, and every time you order a pizza, it's cold because it's stuck in traffic at the junction of Pandora. Luxury
Well,
is
you know that
synonymous with
doesn't happen. The
comfort
boat
and
is
ease.
the boat isn't affected by the traffic.
Okay, uh, you get
But
the
I take
point.
your point. Yes. Okay.
Great. So this is what I'm saying. What is being promised is not exactly what is going to be delivered. That's one. Two, you look at most of those apartment buildings, you look at the plan, and they don't have cross ventilation. They
Yeah.
don't have cross ventilation.
Don't buy ones that have poor design. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of
That's
them
a
have the
lot of
same
what we
design.
do.
A lot of them have the same design.
I
I
agree.
would even, okay, I would even say something that sounds crazy.
Mhm.
When I went to Nairobi, I came away with the conclusion in my mind. Oh gosh, there was one that we went to. I can't remember the name. It's very close to is it the GTC where the French people came in their conference with Africa? I can't remember the name. We went into that apartment building, and the corridors
Mhm.
was very small. Never mind the lift. So this is another thing people need to be aware of.
Mhm.
You know,
These
what
are
you see
things
on the
that we look
plan
at.
is not exactly what is delivered.
I agree.
I'm not being funny.
Mhm.
I would even advise people to wait for the buildings to be completed and buy.
Well, you
Then you
won't be able to buy
see,
doing that, but I do understand
then
what
you
you're
see
saying.
what you're buying.
Mhm.
Because some of them, the lifts they put in the building are very low quality. The gas hobs, the this, that, and are very low quality.
Yeah,
So I would
I
say to
agree
people,
with not all of
hold
them,
up.
but
When it's
that's great.
finished, you go in there and you buy at ease. But the promises, good luck. But that's my assessment.
Okay. I don't fully disagree with you, but I think that you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater with some of these arguments, right? Because there are projects that have proper lifts, there are projects that have ventilation, there are projects that care
Cross
about doing good
ventilation.
entrance and exit designs. Some of the places, like the kitchen extractor fan, doesn't vent anywhere. That's why we always tell people we at least point it out to make sure that people know what they're getting. And I agree that if people come to Nairobi in a naive way and don't know or aren't aware of the issues like Pandora, yes, that junction, you need to be prepared for the I agree, you can be stuck there for 30 minutes. That
I
need
was.
people need to know that. I'm not disagreeing. I know that I've never actually experienced that at that junction, but I know that that can happen there. So I think but what I don't like is when the comments are 100% like everything sucks and we don't care why and it's bad. Not
Well,
everything is bad. Things are
okay.
improving. Some projects are good. That's why when you hear me talk about certain projects, for example, the Diplomat, and I was always big on the Diplomat, if you go there now, the show house is there and it doesn't have those type of problems.
I
And
was in the
that's
diplomat.
yeah.
I was in diplomat. And I want to address two things which you've said. One,
Mhm.
if you imagine that I'm typing and you're reading what I'm saying, and then when I respond to what you're saying, you're probably going to read it 2 minutes later. It doesn't add up to you reading. That's one. Two, when you're typing something in the chat, there's only so many characters you can put in. So you
Okay, fair
cannot
enough.
develop your argument fully in the chat. So
Mhm.
you have to realize that while I'm responding to you in the chat as fast as I can, I cannot fully develop my argument and put all the nuances in the chat.
Fair enough.
So it's not that I'm being hyperbolic. I'm talking to you
Okay.
now. It's easier to get my point across. And
Mhm.
lo and behold, you are agreeing with some of the things I'm saying.
Mhm.
Great. Now, the diplomat, I was at the diplomat. And I kind of like it for the location. No, 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 no. I'll start again. I like it for the location. I like it for the building design. But the balconies, I was explained that the balconies is something of an inward balcony, which didn't kind of make sense to me.
What do you mean?
Again, for the diplomat, all I would say is it depends on the block you're buying. That's what I would say with the diplomat. It depends on the block you're buying. Because when it's finished, again, with the way the apartments are crammed together, you might regret what you buy, because you might be in your very nice 2-bed apartment, but you feel like you're in a box with the diplomat. But I like the location. I like
Well,
the
the two
fact that
bedrooms are in the corners. They all actually have pretty good views, although the backside, I advise people to stay away from because they probably can build on that side. But the funny thing is, what we're experiencing is we advise people to be careful about certain units, and they're like, ah, we're going to do it anyway. So, like, just so you know, I advise people about this stuff all the time. Like, there's 800 units there. The units facing the street with the best views are going to be superior to the people that come later and buy, which to your argument, when you should wait to buy till it's complete. The problem with that, with these off-plan projects, is that you're going to get something on the first floor and you're going to pay much more money,
yes,
which is a problem.
but
But
you
I
know what you're paying
understand it
for.
is a risk. You're right. It's a valid argument. I'm just pointing that out so people
Mhm.
are aware of that,
No,
because
very fair,
they,
very fair.
yeah.
But I'd rather pay, I don't know, 20 million and be happy with what I bought versus paying 12 million and regret my purchase.
I think that's why we
That's
advise
how I
people.
think anyway.
I think what we try to do is focus on the developers that are delivering good products and have a track record of doing so, to eliminate some of that risk for people.
Fair enough.
But
But
I
again,
get you. Yeah.
as a
Go ahead.
foreigner, if I'm buying in Kenya, what I want is, well, let me not say luxury, but comfort and ease. So why I like the diplomat, the location, you have the malls around you. I was at the diplomat during rush hour, because I live in the UK, and one thing they will tell you in the UK is, before you buy a property, try and visit the neighborhood around rush hour. Try and visit the property at different times of the week, so that you can see what you're buying into, you know. And I was there during rush hour, and I saw what the traffic looked like in what have you,
Peponi
the diplomat. I can imagine when the apartments are complete, the traffic would increase, but the road again looked to me like it would cope with the traffic. That's what it looked to me like. If you remember, with the diplomat, is it the Westgate Mall that was close to the diplomat on one side that has the Carrefour? If you remember, going back a few years, that was the mall that was attacked by some terrorists. And if you watch the news at that time, what they were saying was that mall was targeted because a lot of foreigners and Westerners visit that mall. So it was a high-profile target in Kenya. So that already tells you the neighborhood you're in. And when you look and see how close that mall is to the diplomat, you could see why it's a good location. But overall, I would still say, for me, I would wait for the building to be completed, and then I would look and buy what I can see, and I know what I'm buying. Because what you see in the brochures and what you see in the show houses may not necessarily be what is delivered. I'm not saying this as somebody who hates the whole thing or whatever, but I just see that there's a very massive gap between what is being promised and what the finished product will look like, especially for somebody who is looking to buy a holiday
With some developers,
getaway, if you like.
the diplomat delivered on their.
It's still being built. So
You see the show house.
yeah, but the show house is the show house. It's a show house for a reason.
I would expect the same level, to be honest. And they've done a bunch of other projects. This is my thing. This is how you de-risk your purchase.
this is my opinion. I'm not,
No, I got
people
you.
can do what they want to do, but this is my opinion. I was down there in Nairobi. I did the footwork. I walked around. I went to the various apartments. I looked at them, spoke to the agents. Some of them, like the diplomat, I like. Gemini, because of the way it's cramped and the way I think the traffic is going to be, I'm not too happy with it. Pandora, unless they fix that junction, unless they fix that road, I think it's going to be squalor by the time it's built. Very expensive squalor. That's what it's going to look like to me. But again, that's my opinion.
What else did you like? I'm curious now. What projects did you look at?
I'm trying to be honest with you, diplomats stuck out in my mind. That's one that I would say. The rest kind of became a big blur. The diplomat stuck in my mind.
When we take
Pandora.
clients around, that's what happens. Yeah.
Say again.
Yeah, when we take clients around in person, that's what happens. So you see the diplomat's location, and most people cancel everything else.
Yeah,
But it's pretty much sold out. So
yeah, Pandora. Again, I like the idea of Pandora, but it's kind of hard to say what I'm trying to say.
no, I understand. You don't.
But
you buy that place, and then you have a traffic jam, and it ruins your experience. Although, probably what you would do at Pandora is go towards Lavington instead of that junction and crossing Waiyaki
no, if
Way.
you drive right in front of Pandora and just pretend as if you're going past Pandora, you get to the other junction, you make a right, and we were stuck in traffic there, and we were literally smelling open feces. So this is what I mean by local government. You wouldn't expect the federal government to come there. This is what local government does.
Well,
And in African countries, you tend to find that local governments are largely non-existent.
no, see this is my second argument that I was talking about is that they are improving those things
At a
So you
local
could say-
or federal level.
Yeah, the Nairobi County is doing a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I know that you don't want to believe it. See, this is that African thing. Is like no one wants to like. I know that there's many problems, especially with government and corruption and all that kind of stuff. But you can see things improving, and I know it's an unpopular thing to say, but that's what you're looking at. I'm not saying it's perfect, but I know that I stay in Kilimani. There's certain areas like Wood Avenue was horrible, but that's because they're building Capricorn right there and the road's getting destroyed. Well, they have fixed that road, so it's much better. Arguings Kodak, the main road in Kilimani, they totally repaved it. It's so much better. That's
Okay.
the county.
So let me ask you a question.
I've ran into speed bump. I mean, not speed bumps, potholes.
Mhm.
And then a couple weeks later, they were filled in.
Okay.
I was impressed.
Great,
These are
great.
good signs.
Now let me ask you a question. This year, around April, May, there was flooding in Nairobi. A few people died in that flooding.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Now, when you listen to the locals speak about the flooding,
Mhm.
were they saying, "Oh my God, this flooding is a shock"? Was surprised, or were they saying, "Oh, this is the annual flooding that happens during rainy season"? Which one were they saying?
Yeah, I get you. They're going to say that it's always a problem.
Exactly. So this happens every year.
Well, it doesn't
It's
go
not
away tomorrow.
No. Hold on. This happens every year. It's not a surprise. It flooded 2 years ago, I'm guessing. Nothing was done. It's flooding this year. So
See, you say nothing was done, but when I'm
Because it
driving
flooded
around, I
again.
see them adding more drains. If you go to Westgate, they're ripped up the whole road.
No. It flooded. That is why I asked the question the first time. When the flooding happened, were the locals surprised, or did they just take it in their stride as something that
Saying
happened?
it's a long-term issue.
Exactly. So you cannot tell me that they are doing something about something that keeps on happening. It fails logic.
If you get sick, you go to the doctor. Does he instantly heal you?
So the argument is that it's taking the Kenyan government 1 year to figure out why their streets are flooded.
Well, what I'm saying is like fixing a whole big city and then they have to manage a budget. I don't think you can fix this flooding problem that is from poor design and infrastructure and the development of the city so quickly. You're going to have these kinds of problems.
So let me just use your phrase that you use right now. The development of the city so quickly.
Yes.
That implies that the development is out of control.
The development is outpacing the ability to keep up with it. Yeah.
Great. And when I started this conversation, I said local government was more or less non-existent, and you were arguing with me.
See, non-existent is
how can hold on? How can a city develop faster than the local or the government is able to keep pace with? That sounds like it is out of control. You've just said it yourself.
Kenya's population is going to double in 20 years. You need more housing.
Yes. So who is licensing those?
Do you want to have a lack of housing?
Hold on.
Do you want to have bad
who is licensing those houses? Who is giving building permission?
The county government license.
Exactly. So the county government is giving permission quicker than they can build the infrastructure to support it. Yes.
Just like in the U.S., we have data centers.
Then I rest my case.
Energy. Okay.
No, you've made my argument for me. So my case, I've rested my case.
My issue is that you're not considering the magnitude of issues. You're just saying, I'm sick, nothing got better, even though they gave you medicine. What I'm saying is that, yes, the development is ahead of the infrastructure, but the infrastructure is catching up. They're building the flyovers and adding drainage and doing that stuff. But yes, the building is outpacing their ability to follow up with the infrastructure. But that doesn't mean that the city is going to fall apart because the infrastructure is lagging in certain areas. And you see, I know
you're trying to muddy the water. You're trying to muddy the water, but I won't let you muddy the water. The flyover which you're talking about is a federal government contract.
Okay.
That was a massive contract between
the county, just like they do.
No. The county of Nairobi did not sign a contract with the Chinese government or the Chinese. That was done by the federal government.
Because the federal government has a bigger budget to be able
which
to
is fine. I'm not asking why. I'm just making a statement that the federal government did it. You're not going to expect the federal government to come and start planning your local neighborhood. That is what local government does. So using the flyovers and evidence of local government level planning is not correct. We're talking about local government planning, local roads for local infrastructure. That's what I'm talking about. So stop mentioning the flyover.
The road right outside my window is a county road, right? The county works with the state. Sometimes they work with the township, the smallest level of government. That's what happens. Especially in a city like New York City, the state will provide resources for. So I don't get that argument.
No, really. The point I'm making is you keep going back to the bridge or the flyover, and I'm telling you
as anecdotal, like evidence of what's happening.
You yourself has said that the development is outpacing the local government and the ability to keep up, which is why they can't fix flooding. So if you're saying that, you cannot then in the next sentence be wondering why Africans are pessimistic. You've seen it yourself. It floods every year. So you can't. What I'm trying to point out is your contradictions in what you're saying.
It's not a contradiction because you're taking a fatalistic attitude about it, where it's like it's all or nothing. It's yes or no.
You're getting caught up in semantics. The point I'm saying is simple.
No, I'm getting caught up in the details that are important.
No, it's semantics. If you have your roads flooding every year, everybody knows the dry season. Everybody knows the raining season. Everybody knows why roads flood. And if the government hasn't done anything about it, up to the point that that the locals now expect the floods as what's the word, as routine, then you cannot then be wondering why the same locals do not trust the government to fix anything. The flood is just an example. The fact that they're building Pandora and then the junction cannot currently cope, and they've signed off another 300 apartments, then you have to start wondering what is going on. You have to start asking yourself, this Pandora apartment, if you go to a Pandora now, the 3-bedroom apartments are still available. They are asking for around roughly 200,000 US. Is that a building for locals? Is that a building for a local primary school teacher to move his family into in Kenya? No, it's not. So this is the thing I'm saying. Pandora is being built as a luxury apartment for maybe rich Kenyans and foreigners. So the idea that
like
the
every
council
other place.
Say that again?
Just like every other place. How
Which
much
is
is an
fine.
apartment in
But
New York City?
the argument I'm saying
$1 million
is,
for way smaller.
yeah,
That's what happens to big cities.
No
They
doubt.
get expensive.
No doubt. But the argument that I'm making is, I'm countering the argument you made, which is that the government is signing up on this building so that local Kenyans can have a place to live. That's not correct, because places like Pandora, Gemini, and Co. will not be affordable to the local Kenyan primary school teacher, recycling manager, whatever. Say that again?
There are projects that are more affordable. The ones that you're picking are high.
Yeah, those are the ones that I'm talking about projects that foreigners like myself will be interested in. Because again, we're looking for luxury holiday apartments. I'm not going to go and live in I can't even remember, some out of town neighborhood. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how that's a problem. I mean, this is something that happens in every city.
You don't know what's the problem?
City centers of popular places get expensive, and then people build things further out to make it more affordable.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, okay.
What I'm saying is, the Pandoras, the Geminis, the diplomats are not, the target market is not local Kenyans.
I would argue that there are a lot of Kenyans that buy these. Like, Kenyans have money. I promise. More money than me.
You know exactly what I mean.
I know what you mean, but I just wanted to point that out. Like,
yeah, of course, they are rich Kenyans. Okay. I use, for example, the primary school teacher and the average Kenyan person. That's not the target market.
Okay.
So to say that these things are being built so that local Kenyans can have where to live is false. Because that's not the target market.
The ones that you're speaking about, but other projects do fit middle-class people.
Of course, there are going to be projects for local. I give up. Anyway, thanks, Brad, for letting me come on your live. Nice, lovely debate. And I do watch your channel, and it's all nice and good. This is just my opinions anyway. But thanks for letting me come on. Yeah,
I think the positions are pretty reasonable to me. So I just disagree in the details, which you aren't that interested in.
Say that again?
I said I just disagree with some of the details, which you're not that interested in some of the details. But
Fair enough.
It's a good chat. I appreciate you coming on, I think.
No worries. Thank you. Bye.
Yes, sir. See you. Thank you. Well, that was interesting. I think that was a cool conversation. See, like, if you make a point, I'll give you the point. I may not disagree, but like, if your point like is based in something reasonable, I think these are opinions that are okay to talk about. I think the nature of that conversation was cool. So I was watching your guys' comments, so I appreciate everybody. I see Oscar Elite Sanctuaries in here giving some stats. Yeah, we need 250,000 units annually to cover the deficit. Current market produces around 50,000 units annually. Infrastructure is catching up, albeit slow. And see, like, I think a lot of my things that I like to talk about, like, all these factors are factors. Like, there needs to be more infrastructure, right? But to just say nothing's happening is where I have the issue. because I'm seeing things happen. And is it enough? This is why I get into details, and I know that's boring on the internet, but when you look at these projects, if you did a proper traffic study or an analysis of a project, what you would want to do if you're thinking about traffic is come up with some kind of calculation or understanding of how many cars or Uber deliveries and all this stuff is generated generally by a 1-bedroom unit, a 2-bedroom unit, a 3-bedroom unit, 4 or 5. Come up with some kind of calculation and a study to be able to come up with that information and then say, okay, this road is capable of handling this many cars and this much traffic before it's overloaded. And how many cars are we adding to this road before we need to either not approve the buildings, which I know you guys, people are getting approvals when they probably shouldn't be getting approvals and things like that, which, I don't want to get all into the politics, which I understand the argument. But if you're just thinking about city planning, these things, I'm using the United States as an example because there's no reason why these proper planning can't be done. It's not really rocket science. There's established procedures for these things if there's the will to do them. And personally, my observation is that things are not perfect, but they are improving. And I don't like when people get so negative that, like, he would say something like, they're doing nothing. No, they're doing, like, there's a medicine happening, right? Like, if you go to the doctor and you're sick, you may not recover right away. So I think the city is being given medicine. It just is taking a long time to work. And so again, I know it's not cool for the internet because it's better for people to come up and not him. I'm not talking about, but there's all these reels and things going on. Look at all these buildings. What's going on? It's too much. So that's where I'm coming from. The speaker has developed over the years. He is just jumping all over. Well, because and he's using the local attitudes, which I think a lot of local people. I mean, if I grew up in Westlands 15 years ago and it was all low-rise buildings, and then all of a sudden there's a million apartments, I also would say, what the heck is happening? Where are all these people coming from? I've never seen anything like this, and this doesn't seem normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it. But what is the housing demand? So let me play this video because I think this kind of speaks to some of that argument as well. I don't know how to full screen this, so hold on. Sorry, I'm not good at. Oh.
Before you buy that Nairobi apartment, watch this video.
Let me show you what, in my opinion, I think oversupply looks like. Westlands, the so coveted location by many investors. A lot of you cannot relate, especially those that are in diaspora, with the actual situation on the ground. So when we talk about oversupply and overdensification, this is exactly what we mean. So on this street, we have a couple of developments, a majority of which are predominantly
hold
1
on.
and 2 bedrooms.
I want to point something out. So his argument is that if you want to talk about oversupply, this is what I'm talking about. So this is his proof of oversupply.
So just have a look. This is a development on the right. This is one.
This is Mufiti Road.
This is another one on the left.
That's Diamond Bay on the left.
Very beautiful developments. I love the architectural style. It looks very nice.
I don't.
There's another one coming up right next. As you can see, the one under construction. So those are 3 so far in less than 100 meters from each other. There's another one on my left.
This is the new Shangri-La. Yuck.
It's 4.
Sand.
And we do not know even the empty plots.
There's Emerald there.
There's another one coming up there. That banner. There's another one coming up here. Whenever you see this green,
so you're seeing lots of buildings.
Look at that. Beautiful. But then again, too many apartments on one street.
So it's too many because I see too many.
Are similar units. They are 90% 1 and 2 bedroom units. So what does that mean for investors in this area? It means that the investors in this area will be competing for the same pool of clients. Now, there will be an advantage to the tenants because they will have...
Okay. Well, let them keep going. But pay attention to this argument.
Hundreds, if not thousands of units to choose from. But to you, the investor, what does that do to your investment? It means that whenever there is a high supply of any particular product or service and
High
low
supply
demand, the
and
price
low
goes
demand.
down.
I believe the future of real
All right, then he's trying to sell single family properties here. Okay. So his argument was that, look, there's a bunch of buildings. It's too many. So we're going to have a high supply and a low demand. And what I would ask anyone that says this, and guys, I'm not really trying to advocate for this. The reason why I'm having this conversation is because it's how you think. Okay, you see all these buildings. So we could see the new units coming up. So that's the supply. What's the demand? What's the demand? So you just see new supply coming up. Like, so if you're in a factory and they're making whatever pencils, and they're making 1 million pencils, and then they go to making 2 million pencils, and you're in the factory and that's all you see, you'd be like, dang, they're making too many pencils. Who are we going to sell these pencils to? That's not good thinking, because you don't know who's buying them and you don't know what the demand is. So if you're doing a supply and demand curve, you only are drawing the supply part of the graph, but where's the demand land? And this is my issue. And I personally, I don't think that information is very knowable. And this is where we get into conjecture or anecdotal information, is because generally my thesis is that as long as the investment continues and the population growth continues and the middle class growth continues, the demand is going up. How much is it going up? Will it meet the supply? I can't guarantee or say one way or the other because we don't have good numbers. But what I can tell you is, let's pull up, because I looked up how much tourism. Let me, I'll share the screen so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Wow, this is really zoomed in. How many tourists visit Kenya per month? Okay, again, data, we have to be careful. How are they collecting it? All that. And this is coming from ChatGPT, of course. So let's see what the number. Okay, Kenya gets about 200,000 to 215,000 international visitors per month on the average right now. And again, we have to pay attention to sources. I'm not going to get all into that because I did look at this before. But sources matter. So you could poke holes in the argument based off of the sources. But it swings by season. Recent monthly data shows, and I guess you could do it by passport entries. They could probably collect this data pretty well. That monthly data is reported from KNBS, Trading Economics, Kenya Tourism. We could look into that, but just for the sake of argument, because I really want to talk more about how we're thinking about these things versus like the actual numbers necessarily. So you're getting 200,000 international visitors per month. So when people say, oh, the diplomat's adding 800 units, into what, right? Because that place has very small units. It's probably better for tourists or like short-term stays or people there temporarily because it has mostly smaller units. 2 bedrooms set aside because that's a different market. So let's look 15 years ago what the tourism was looking like. Okay. So a 58% increase from 134 to about 200,000 plus. So how many places? So see, this is how we should be thinking about these things. So just to deal with the increase in tourism from 2010, how many new buildings need to be built to accommodate them? If people aren't making arguments based off of this, then they're just guessing. And guys, when I'm just guessing, I say I'm just guessing. Or from what I've seen and observed, this is my observation. That takes a long time to do versus an Instagram reel where you just say, don't buy because they're building, look, all these buildings, too many. That's very low, like, I'm not trying to come it down, but it's like a very basic way to approach this stuff that can mislead people. Could it be too much supply? It could. Now, my opinion is that you will only see effects of oversupply if there's lots of protests, people get killed, and people start getting afraid to invest or visit or do more development in Kenya. If the BBC puts on a whole bunch of horrible scenes and it goes on for a long time, the people that were investing in South Africa and now have looked at Kenya may look at Ethiopia. They may look at Rwanda. They may look at somewhere else. The people that are scared of missiles landing in Dubai that have found Kenya to be a good alternative will now find another alternative to that. That's my thesis, is that as long as the climate remains attractive for international investment, combined with the wealth and the money getting to middle-class Kenyans, which is a whole nother thing that we can talk about, which is important. I think the development is meeting the demand more than it is overdoing it. But that's, again, that's my opinion. And if you have a different opinion, but it needs to be based on something. Like you have to be able, I'm trying to build an argument based off of some level of information. Totally. You can't just look at one factor and say, this is my conclusion. So that's how I try to go about things. And am I perfect? No, I'm not an economist. I'm just sharing how I'm thinking about it, to be honest. And of course, now we have the company, we help people buy. So I'm sure there's going to be claims that we have an incentive to encourage people to buy, which I guess that's the downside of like actually doing the business, because now that's always a claim that can happen. But I promise anyone that we've consulted with, this is the conversation that we have. Don't think we're just saying, oh, this is great, buy here. He kept referencing Gemini, which is in the Brookside area. Gemini has, unfortunately, and it's not even their fault, and that's the Starroot developer, has other projects getting built all around them that are affecting that site negatively. They actually had to change Gemini's 2 design and layout because of the development going on next to it. And it's a shame because Gemini has probably one of the best amenity packages in the market. But okay, and guys, this is the conversation that we have with clients. Selecting a unit was part of that conversation. Don't buy a unit that's going to get blocked or in the future will be less competitive than other units. These are conversations that we have. Sorry, I'm reading the comments. I should read them. Guys, I'm reading all of them. I just, I usually try to get to everybody's comments, but I didn't want to interrupt the flow. MH, what's going on? How are you? Long time no see. Oh, he was giving feedback. I'm sorry. It wasn't his fault on the technical. That's my fault. Kenya has better infrastructure than Ghana and Nigeria combined. Guys, I don't like when y'all get into this, like, my country's bad. Like, I don't, you know, I'm not trying to get into all that. Ethiopia shows what's possible in a short amount of time. Ethiopia has a special level of, well, I was going to say cohesion, but not really. But they were never colonized. So I feel like how they do stuff is much different. And I don't know. I'm not making a good argument there. Just disregard that. I haven't developed that conversation yet. Nairobi River Regeneration Project. The Nairobi River Regeneration Project is an ambitious multi-agency ecological restoration effort with investments. Yeah, so I guys, I follow a lot of the news. Like, I'm aware of this program and that they are trying to do things to improve stuff. And this is where I get a little upset because a lot of Kenyans just blame everything on the government, which I understand. There's plenty of problems. But also you have people throwing trash in the river. You have people like someone was commenting they put their clothes end up there clogging the drainage. So like individual people are also responsible for what's happening as well. Ryan, ask your guys if they know anything about the building that just finished on the Ndigu Road, just on the corner of the Savos. What's the name of it? I don't know all the roads by heart, to be honest. So it's a red and white building. Ryan, your argument is well thought out and logical. It's hard to thank you. I mean, you could disagree with them. I think there's holes in the argument. But also, I'm not trying to like argue to win. So I'm willing to concede that the development is exceeding the infrastructure development, right? But my argument is that the magnitude of this is not catastrophic. Emerald looks amazing. Yes, it does. Shout out to GY Group and Emerald. High quality project. Put a lot of extra effort in the exterior.
I like this right here.
I like when developers go a little above and beyond because some of these guys are making very basic looking things. That's a beautiful landmark in Nairobi that improves the skyline. Unfortunately, they're building a bunch of garbage around it, aka the developers for Shangri-La and whatever the name. I don't even pay attention to their projects because they're so bad. And the developer like cursed me out one day because a client asked me to look at it and I sent them back basically like a report of I thought it was horrible. And then I guess he asked them to fix a lot of things and then somehow they figured out it was me and then they hated me. But yeah, that's what happened. Mr. Nigeria made points, but y'all don't want to recognize that because Nigeria also struggled. Yeah, I don't know why people get into that. Has nothing to do with his points. Although he did bring in, I'm African, so I know, which I don't accept that as an answer. I understand what he means by saying that, right? Like, I know generally how things go here, and you don't. I'm sorry. I think I'm capable of understanding things. Oversupply is good for renters. That's the other thing. So people are like, oh, well, middle-class Kenyans cannot afford these luxury apartments. Number one, I don't think they're designed for them necessarily that way. But if there is oversupply, guess what? People are going to have to lower their prices so more people can afford to stay at them, right? So if you're buying one of these luxury apartments and then no one can rent it out, well, you know what you could do is lower the price and have that the school teacher be able to rent that place at whatever price is appropriate. Is that good for the investor? No, but it's not bad for the local renters. And from my perspective, if I bought a place and then I had to lower the rent and then people are able to have high quality housing, because I paid cash for the investment, it doesn't hurt as much. Now you could have invested in something else and you could have got a higher ROI. So, you know, mutually exclusive, or there's an opportunity cost of buying one apartment that's not doing good ROI versus you could have put your money in the stock market or anything like that. Also, guys, members, I released my Q1 results of some of my investments that I've been making outside of real estate. I've had my first rental property in Lavington for over a year now. I'm going to be going through that with all the numbers, everything we spent, the struggles and failures in the beginning, what the numbers are. We'll calculate the return on investment. We're going to do all that members only. And that's not members first, that's members only. So you have to be a member to get in there. Rents and Airbnbs will be cheap for sure. Again, if you're a shrewd investor and you just are going for highest ROI, yeah, you would be mad about this. But personally, if I had to lower my rates, I'm not very upset. I saw a 3-bedroom for 150K in Westlands. I think that's what they're going for, unfurnished. First of all, I love Kenya. I wish Nigeria was more like Kenya. I literally love Kenya and wish it all the best. Yeah, I totally agree. And I don't like when people start doing that, because obviously you're there because you like it. It gets hard to be critical without stepping into, oh, don't bash our country thing, you know? So but you do have to give people space to talk about that. I guess actually you don't, because it's your country. You can just tell them to shut up if you want. But things get better through these type of conversations, and you know, like, how can we, like, if this is actually a problem. Like, if you don't give the government, let's take it away from government. If you have, let's say, a kid, and the kid is doing good stuff, and you don't acknowledge that the kid is doing good stuff, and then you punish the kid and yell at the kid and tell them they're bad when they do something bad, but then they turn around and start doing good things, and you don't acknowledge that. Well, why am I, like, I can't win, so screw it. So you have to acknowledge the good and the bad to be listened to, because I'm not going to listen to you if all you say is bad stuff all the time. And if we do make a good effort and then no one cares, then screw it. I'm not going to do anything. I mean, it's human nature. I want to buy in Nairobi. I wish it develops and want it to be beautiful. I want to buy in Nairobi and Mombasa, but facts are facts. Yeah, but yeah, a little light on the facts. Little light on the facts. We're with you. Africa needs Africa. We want better for Kenya and investors. Yep. I won't mention the Haas index confirming the oversupply. Okay. That's what I have on the agenda, is the Haas index. Let's deal with it. And then I got to get out of here. I only have 45 minutes to talk about that, because I got to go do some soccer photography. Guys, follow me on Instagram, Ryan Fagan _real estate. Where's my button? Do I have a button? There we go. Hey, my Instagram is just random things that don't have that much to do with Kenya or anything, because the people that follow me are from the US and they don't even know anything about what I do in Kenya. All right, sir. What's your nationality? Because I find that lots of people, maybe in the diaspora or in the West, like to look at these reports, and I'm going to tell you what I think about them in a minute. Let me keep going through the comments here. Andy the Mount. I'm selling my Airbnb furniture stuff on TikTok has been increasing to watch. The youth are moving away. Everything looks at the supply, but never the demand. Yes. What's the demand? What is the demand? That, like, we can't just say there's too much supply if no one could say what the demand is. All right, let me skip through some. Well, let me do the members' comments. I saw Penthouse 18 million. It's really interesting to watch. I appreciate the data, Ryan. Not feelings. Thank you. We need to talk about the lease agreements and terms in it. Yeah, that's another thing to tackle. There is real demand enough to sustain the market. We have the data. Oh, I don't know. When people say data, I get a little. Let's gatekeep Nairobi, guys. Its oversupply is getting out of control. Rwanda, Uganda can't compete with Kenya. The thing about Rwanda is that their systems are safer to deal with or easier, but I agree with you that they can't compete right now. Rwanda kind of can, I think. Not Uganda. Local government is greedy and not working to improve things. Dang. See, all right. I'm not even getting into that. Ryan, if you want, we can visit a site when next in Nairobi and we can do, yeah. On-site debate with videos. Yeah. Your analysis of the projects wasn't far off from mine. We don't make the data, though. I would refer you to the Kenyan National Bureau. Hey. We'll give East African builders one thing. They believe in green space. West Africans yeah, the green space. Talk about planning and zoning. That needs to be a requirement to keep the green space to some degree. I'm excited for the Lavington video. When is that rental video dropping? And yeah, it'll only be in members. I have to prepare it, and I'm not a good preparer. I'm better off the cuff, so I have to. I should be doing it this week. Okay, let's get to this Haas index thing. Why did they change my search from? Let me just bring this on my main screen real quick. Okay, just hang on. They have a coastal one. Kenyan residential. So I didn't go through. I went through this a long time ago when it first came out. Everyone was sending it to me. I don't have everything in the front of my mind about it, but let's talk about this. How can we make this screen bigger for you guys? I guess we can do this. No, not that screen. I don't want that one. Oh, I've disappeared. Hold on one second, guys. No, I don't want to do this. Okay, hold on. No, not that one. Okay. Here it is. Okay, hold on. How is the best way to do this? Yeah, I saw the guy got arrested. Crazy, right? Okay. This is the Haas Index report. This is the one that basically said that real estate is down in Nairobi and people were making videos about it. And everyone was sending me the video about it because he was just repeating what this said as its gospel. All right. Research methodology. The study reviewed 8 international property markets in addition to the Kenyan market. These were selected based on availability of comparable property price and rental yields data and to achieve a spread of comparison across Africa, North America, Europe, Asia, Australia. They used US, Canada, UK, France, Switzerland, Singapore, Australia, South Africa. An additional factor that contributed to this selection included an interest in comparable United Nations cities, which drove the inclusion of Switzerland in addition to the US. All the data in the study is given in current prices with the South African data rebased to remove the inflation adjustment used in its source indices. Okay. Okay. The study found advanced property returns in Kenya with its resilience driven by the, wait, is this the right report? The study analyzes the Kenyan market. Is this the one that we wanted to? I don't. Hold on, let me find where they're saying there's a decrease, because that was the one everyone is. Oscar, if you know, let me know if this is the report, because this seems to be a comparison, but not Nairobi specific. Housing demand. Let's see. Oh yeah, is this the one with the decrease? High income earners. Sorry guys, I'm skimming. Okay, in the last 10 to 15 years, Kenya's housing market has experienced strong growth with the demand for detached houses, semi-detached houses, and apartments. The period marked a notable reduction in the country's expat population, yet the scale of domestic demand, from 2011, work permits for international slumped, falling by 72%. Okay, this was followed by a sequence of foreign withdrawals, many people downsizing, leaving. Okay. That's not what I'm trying to get to. The majority of developers aren't Kenyan either, yeah. Yeah, I don't think this is the report. No, I think it is. I really just want to jump to the part that everybody was talking about. Yet, despite having the highest sales price growth of the markets assessed, Kenya is also delivering top quartile rental yields. Yes, that's why everyone's buying. International rental yields. Hold on. See that? What's that about? This contrasts sharply with international. In the second quarter of 2025, 4 of the 8 countries analyzed in this report delivered overall rental yields below 5%. That's a weird way to write that. Property returns. Okay. Yes, they're saying that they're strong. Okay. 7.8 capital gains. Yes. Okay. Oh, so these are some of the ones that they benchmarked. Volair, that's in Brookside. Kenyan off-plan capital gains and rental yields 2019 to 2025. Escada, both of their lifts stopped working. Riverside Square, I don't know that one. Inaki Town, that's from Haas. Ineza, I don't know this one. Altura, 1870 West, that's a Haas building. Antara, okay. This is an outlier project. Ineza, let me see if I know this one. Let me look it up. That's a Haas project. The people doing the report are using their own projects as comps. Okay. And why are we on? How did they change me to Microsoft Search? That's horrible. Oh, this is a Haas development as well. Escada's not. Volair, I don't think is either. Okay, so you used your own projects for most of the comps. This is a Altura. That's definitely a Haas one. 1870 Haas. This one's not. Okay. The study also calculated the capital appreciation to date for all. Dude, see, like, throw this in the garbage already. Wait, that's it? Because Haas properties are priced above the rest of the market in general for the same comp. Let me look for, let me go to Google first of all. Indices like Hoskensol. Where is the? I want the actual report because in the report they give a lot of how they came up with the numbers, and that's what I started to have a problem with. Yeah, Escada, both of the lifts stopped working, and now one of them kind of works, and they have to replace them. I talked to the people at 270 Rooftop, and every day they'd have to go up the 20 floors to the rooftop restaurant by foot. Oof. Guys, can someone send me the link to this? 1870 is nice building, perfect location. What's the problem? They want like 25 million for like the one bedroom. So no, it's not that bad, but like once they said the prices, I just totally disregarded it because what? Okay. I've seen this thing before. Oh, they want me to pay. Prices in Nairobi suburbs fell. Where is the source? Oh, look. Interview with Franklin there from FKC Realty. I like Boris's podcast. He has cool conversations on there. Guys, someone say this. Send me the report. I can't even find it anymore. Mm-hmm. Nope. Don't want to watch that. I think you are searching for the page 3. Let me go back to the Haas Index, page 3. Oh, wait. It's this. Is it this? Rents rise as affordability pressures shift demand to satellite towns. According to Haas Consult Property Price Index for Q1 2026, overall sales prices in Nairobi suburbs rose by 1.1%, while prices in the city's satellite towns fell by almost 1%. The divergence between housing and apartments became more pronounced in the quarter. Lavington led the suburbs in quarterly house price growth. Sorry, guys, I'm struggling. So, like, where do these numbers come from? Because when someone sells a house in Karen or land, how do you know that? Oh, look. They have Lavington at minus 6%. They have Westlands at minus 8% of sales prices. Look at the prices of all the properties. Are they up or down? Like, Where does this number come from? I got my eye on Kassarian, okay. Apartment prices, okay. Okay, where do they get the information from? Do they tell you? No. Guys, I don't trust these guys. And I'm not saying that just because it's down. It's because of their their behavior. Can we do a community only live and have a for the first a what? A Q&A? Yeah. Actually I was going to do that. I have some other things to do, but I was going to do it members only after the public live. I'm going to do that next week. So next week we're going to do World Cup of Nairobi off-plan projects. So like a tier list. I don't know. I might just do the tier list. I'm not going to do a whole group stage and all that. I don't know. Maybe we'll do it fun if I can figure out how to do it. I got to like prep it a little bit. But then after that, we can do a Q&A with members only for sure. We're going to start doing that. We got to do it at least once a month. But there's a lot of good members only content coming. What are we talking about? It's their own buyers. Google it. Yeah, Haas has their own little world. They don't deal with agents. I try to look at their properties. They won't even call me back. They won't answer. They're weird and they're in a bubble. Because if you look at Knight Frank has a report, all the legacy real estate companies that do these reports, I think that real estate has changed a lot. Like Boris, he's taking over the market share in there. The independent agents, Oscar, Elite Sanctuaries, they're taking a lot of the business from the legacy companies, Pam Golding, Knight Frank, Haas Consult, but they're still doing things the old way. And I think those companies are declining, to be honest. And that's not knocking some of the Pam Golding agents that I'm cool with. Speaking of FKC legal, you need to bring back Franklin and discuss the new finance bill. And so he has a podcast on Boris about the finance bill. So I would check that out. We'll definitely have our lawyer episode coming up at some point. They didn't pass the finance bill, so that's one thing why we haven't been talking about it. Also, that's very politically charged. I'm a little, I try to stay out of that kind of stuff, but it impacts investors. So you have a bar on the top floor. How often can we do it? Yeah. Misty Springs, that is garbage, poor lifts, bad. Yeah, it's funny because Misty Springs is by the same people for Emerald, and Misty Springs, like Emerald shows a lot of improvement. Yeah, we'll do a Q&A and it's no editing. Ryan, what are your thoughts on Misty Springs? Yeah, I know some people that bought there and it's been occupied since they've done the handover, but I agree and they would agree about some of the finished quality and certain things. But it's still renting really well, which is the thing in the market, is even projects that aren't always the best do pretty well. What I like is that the developer, Emerald Springs, is a real testament to their improvements. But Misty Springs, not my favorite, yeah. Great job, Ryan. See you next week. Thank you, Dr. Decca. Appreciate it. Oh, damn, I thought Misty Springs was nice. Perception of quality varies between people. For that World Cup, Ryan will pin Luminar in the top 3. Well, one of the things that, like, should we talk about should it be based on availability? Because Diplomat has been number one, but there's not a lot of units that I'd recommend to purchase there left. But yeah, I'll probably pin surprise. Luminar is going to be top of the list, one of the top ones. You guys, this is like there's over 50 off-plan projects going on in Nairobi. Why? So we have different buyer categories and intention, but per your category of what kind of buyer you are, there's going to be a top 2 or 3 to pick from. Why would we deal with like the 7th best development in that category, right? So if you're looking for a family style 3, 4, 5 bedrooms, there's only so many of those. And out of them, maybe you want the one in Westlands or you want one in Brookside. Where do you want to be? And then what are the options? It's not that many. And why would you like, if they're comparable, if they're similar in price and quality, sure, then which one do you prefer? But generally, there's a clear winner in a lot of these categories. So if we're talking to someone about, like, for example, if you're just looking for pure ROI, I still think the 43 square meter at the Diplomat is the best return on investment purchase. Even with the limited availability, I still think those are viable units to buy. I think they're still available because lots of people don't prefer the layout. But when I look at it, I think that you're going to make the best return on those. And it's boring because I have to keep saying the same things. I would love to like move on. I really want to move on from the Diplomat and stop talking about it. So I'm and they actually yesterday they did the groundbreaking for Executive Suites, which is the next project by Wonder Properties from the Diplomat. They also have Gaia as well, but maybe we'll have something else to talk about. What's up with their new project Amethyst? It seems to be going. There's a court date on June 26th because there's people suing them and stuff about impacting the area, so they're frozen. But we're supposed to hear something after June 26th. And from my understanding of how this development stuff goes, you could do as much research as a developer, but at any time, really, someone can come and bring a lawsuit that could stall your project. Have you been to Skynest, and how many of these new builds will you say are better than Skynest? You know what's funny about Skynest? Skynest lives off of a reputation. And even me, when people are asking about places to stay, it's a safe recommendation because Westlands, first of all, is a good place to start. And the talk about the end, it has that hotel style entry, so it gives a good first impression when you go there. Inside, it's pretty dated, but it has a really good location. But most of the new projects from the top tier developers, quality wise, is better than Skynest. But I think projects develop a reputation of being good. So if you're going to stay somewhere, it's like easy to recommend Skynest. I recommend Escada because it has 270 rooftop. I just think it's an easy place to stay at. But then they had the problems with the lifts. So I'm not impressed by Skynest. Like, it looks dated to me and it's very expensive, but people are in and out of, like, if you just sit in the lobby, there's a lot of activity going on there all the time. But I'd rather have the Diplomat than Skynest. Like, if I was a renter. But see, I think that's the interesting thing about the market, though, because I think Skynest on AirDNA is number 1 for Airbnbs. So that goes to my point. Like, picking the best project is where you're going to make, or you're just going to have a better investment time, whether you're getting the return on investment, whatever you're doing. I think Luminar is going to be one of those that has a higher reputation than a lot. Like, because in that video that we watched, those are on Muthiti Road. Emerald is a good standout, but those other developments there, I don't prefer them. I don't like Golden Mansion that much. I don't like Diamond Bay. Definitely not San Reno or whatever they're calling that. I just call it Shangri-La, but that's their prior project. I wouldn't touch the thing. Emerald was good, but now, it's completing in December. It's all sold out. And the resales we have on our website, almasirealty.com, the one bedroom that they were buying for like 7.5 is now resold at 10 to 12 million, depending on the floor. And it's nice. People looked at it and said that the one bedroom is small, and it is. I actually don't really love the layout because the balcony is from the bedroom. Like, there's things that I don't really love about it, but they deliver. Like, if you take the render of Emerald Springs and take a picture exactly from where the render's picture is, it looks identical. Which, again, this is how we de-risk our purchases, because I think Amethyst, if they can get through their legal issue, is going to deliver a really good product, as good or better than Emerald. The only thing is, it's in Kilimani, and I don't really love the road that it's on. It's in a good general location off of Dennis Pritt, which is why there's no other apartments there, because people are fighting them. So if they're able to build it, they'll probably be the only apartment in that area for a while, because nobody wants to get in these battles. Oh, and video I want to see is thoughts of buyers who moved into their apartments. I want to know their experience, singles. Yeah, I gotta reach out. I'm anti, so I don't want to be asking them all them questions, but that is a good idea. Skynest location is one of the best attributes. It will always have full occupancy. My point, off-plan buys and then caught up with a lawsuit. Yeah, well, but we've had people get their money back, their deposit back. Because again, to be fair to them, you only pay the reservation fee, and they will refund you the money before the groundbreaking and before you do your deposit. So you're not like that damaged. And I know I'm African. Oh, I can't believe they give you the money back. Wow, they're not scamming you. Yeah, I mean, they're a reputable company. This is how you de-risk. You deal with people that aren't going to hold your money hostage. Personally, I will buy Skynest over most of the new builds. I'm impressed by the fact that it has been maintained, and that is something we don't. I agree with the maintenance. The maintenance of some of these projects is an afterthought and is one of the biggest risks. And many of these developers don't have good building management plans. Panorama West was delayed because of soft soil. Delays happen. I'd hate to get my view blocked by a new development after paying millions. That's why we spend a lot of time analyzing the sites and giving you the risk depending on where you're selecting your unit. We always advise people about that. For example, the Diplomat, the back outside of Block B, I've been harping on it for a long time, but people are so hyped to buy the Diplomat that they still will take some units facing that way. And I tell them 7 times, your view can get blocked. Now, the 2 bedrooms on that backside, maybe the balcony gets blocked, but the bedroom views that view either Karua Forest or the city side, those won't be getting blocked. So, but these are the type of conversations that we have. We make sure you're fully aware of the downsides or risks. What's your take on Golden Mansion? I don't like their finished quality. They invited us to an event and then de-invited us. The location's good. They're on a corner, so they have more protection from their views getting blocked. The recessed lighting doesn't come with it, even though it's in the show house. Be aware of that. weird. Like that's very strange. I wasn't impressed with the finish quality. I definitely wasn't impressed with the materials. They do give quite big balconies, which I do like big balconies. I feel like the windows are small in the bedrooms. I think many other projects are better, and therefore, why would you buy from them? You know, I'd buy Luminara before I bought Golden Mansion all day. I would buy Oak West before I bought. I pretty much everything except for Diamond Bay. Diamond Bay is in the same category. I wouldn't buy Diamond Bay under any circumstance. I want to buy Golden Mansion. Um, the oaks are really good. So like Crystal Oak, Diamond Oak, Oak West, Brookside Oak, those guys deliver on quality. The Ivies have a new project, Ivy Mist, which is going next to Blossoms Ivy. So if you guys liked that video or those projects, that's another option. I also like Ivy Park in Kilimani, but most of all the people want to buy in Westlands. I was supposed to make an announcement. Okay, this is just between us. I'm going to make a separate video about it. And shout out to whoever said that I look much younger after losing a lot of weight. Thank you. I appreciate that. I saw that and I appreciated that. All right. It's official. I'm selling my apartment at Alina Harbor and I'm buying, which I don't want to, I've been telling you guys, I'm not trying to spend any more money. I'm buying. So I have a 2-bedroom at Alina Harbor, which is by Wonder Properties. I think it's 100 something square meters. I actually don't know my square meters. And I'm buying at, I need a soundboard. Drum roll?
Let's get this party started.
No.
Oh God. Oh God.
I don't have a good one for that. I'm buying 3-bedroom at Belgravia Place in Kileleshwa, and I'm gonna be staying there when they're done. I was fighting it for so long because I want to build something and I want to save up some money. But I think over the 3 years I'll be able to still do everything that I'm trying to do. But I got tired of looking at Belgravia for other people and not having it. So I'm upgrading from 2 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms. I have plans, okay? And this is personal use, not for investment. And I'm going to sell my property at Alina Harbor. I paid 10.5 and it should sell maybe around 12. Maybe in a couple of years it'll be more than 12. And then at Belgravia, paying around 20 million for the 1-bedroom, so I have to come up with 8 in 3 years. But I'm doing it. I just had to do it. So I'm gonna make a video about that and I guess why and everything. But I like the concept. I want to walk into a place and the greenery is there. The location's good. It's not like the most amazing location, but it's sufficient. Because I really like where Alina Harbor, where my current place is at. I really like that location. It's very convenient, but I don't think it's too bad of a trade-off. But like the greenery, the super large balcony, the mini studio, because when I come back to Nairobi, I want to get like a chef. And it'd be nice to have not just a DSQ, but a whole mini studio. Plus, I don't know, my brother comes out, maybe I'll put him there because he likes to do his own thing. But yeah, I'm making the move. I think it's the nicest project, and I want the nicest stuff. Alina Harbor is cool, but I bought Alina Harbor because it was finishing at the right time and it was a good location. And I did like it, but buying off plan gets addicting. And I feel like a lot of other projects are better than Alina Harbor now. And I'm like, I need a rooftop vibe. I need the rooftop pool. I I need that nice restaurant. I need the improved courtyard with the waterfall and the co-working space especially actually is a big one for me. Also laundry. I got to get some suits. I don't want to do all the dry cleaning. I could just drop it off there and they'd send it to dry cleaning. I like that. And I wanted a little bit bigger spot. Plus, I think you can hang out on the balcony with the 2.2 meter depth. And then the mini studio, again, I feel like I could do a lot with it. And I really wasn't trying to spend this kind of money. But, and yeah, so they gave me like a discount to be transparent, the 100% deposit price. Because they have a price chart. If you do 50% deposit, 20% deposit, the price is different. They gave me like like I'm paying 100% up front, but they gave me that price, even though they're letting me sell my property and then have a flexible payment plan until completion. Because that was the reason why I really wasn't gonna do it, is because how am I gonna stay in my current place, sell my place, and then move there? But they were flexible with me about that. I don't know if they're gonna do that for you guys, but that's what that looks like. That's the plan. You hate the Ivy Guys buildings? They do use like certain shiny tiles and stuff. Some people don't like their layouts, but I like them. Imagine living in the UK, USA while fighting a lawsuit in Kenya. Yeah, that would be crazy. What do I think about Cheval? I think people should look at Grosvenor, which Oscar from Elite Sanctuaries was kind of giving me the inside scoop about it. Finished quality ain't delivering what it was supposed to deliver. The way they launched the project, everything about it smelt funny to me. And so that's like a watch and see type project. Looks really cool, but have they established the ability to deliver that? And I'm a bit skeptical. It looks cool though. But why would I pay 10 million for a one bedroom when you could go to executive suites for 7.2 million for the same thing? Because it's round. When I smell a lot of hype, I don't like it. Nairobi has been having a huge gap in the housing market. There's not enough houses, but the problem is developers are focused on luxury build. Yeah, because if this is a problem, if the land is expensive, then you should build expensive things on it. That's a big problem in America. First of all, like in my town, you need a whole acre to build like a single family house. And the land is expensive. And then if all you can do is build one single family house, you're going to build $1 million house to get your money back. That's poor. Like everyone complains about housing affordability, but the laws literally make it so that it's not economically, it doesn't make any economic sense to build anything but a really expensive house. And these are unintended consequences of poor housing policy. All buildings can look lovely, but without maintenance. Yeah, I agree. In the UK, we say location, location, location. Africa, think maintenance. I agree. The maintenance narrative is a really, these guys, talk about the development is past the infrastructure. The development is past the services of management. They're not very. There's not a good, reliable management company in the market that I'm aware of that manages the buildings. Oak will give you size. Pandora. Belgravia is a good choice. Omasi is making millions. Not yet. It's hard to get paid, I'll tell you. I hope you're getting paid for all these commercials I watch because I want to support. Oh, thank you. Are you talking shillings or dollars? Shillings. It's funny. I don't convert the prices to dollars in my brain, and I know I should because clients are like, wait, what's 1 million mean? I'm with you on leaving Alina. Thought you were going to buy Gaia. You know, see, Gaia is 5 million more, and I like Belgravia better because the views, like Gaia punishes you by putting the buildings too close together, the different blocks. Especially the 5-bedroom, they have amazing views on the one side and then horrible views on the other. And then you're asking 50 million. I ranked it so high because of the location, but I actually have to bring the rank down a little bit, to be honest. You never liked it. The Ivies. I could see why the Ivies don't appeal to everybody. I noticed you didn't buy Pandora. Seems like no, I didn't buy Pandora because at first I was a bit skeptical of if they're going to be able to deliver, and then they did the show house. I would, if you bought the 2-bedroom, you were cooking. But that's not why I wouldn't buy Pandora. I don't know. So with Pandora, first of all, I don't know if they would work with me on the me selling my other property and buying, and it's kind of complicated. And then Pandora, I think it's 25M, so it's an additional 5 million Kenyan shillings on top of what I would pay at Belgravia. So to me, it doesn't make that much sense. I'm not that concerned with the location, to be honest, because for me, if I stayed at Pandora, I would go to Lavington side, which doesn't have traffic. So I'd go towards James Gashuru and go to Lavington Mall. I'd go to stuff over that way. And generally, I don't have to work a normal schedule, so I never travel after 3:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. wherever I'm at, I'm staying there because the traffic is bad everywhere. How much is the 3-bedroom? I'm getting around 20 million. I think it's like 21.5 with their 50% deposit price promotion, which you only need to do 20% deposit, but they're going to give you the 50% deposit price. Ryan, in 3 years, you will be done with apartments. 20 million, you can get half hectare and build a. Yeah, but see, I'm always going to need a city spot, but I'm also definitely going to build like a 6-bedroom house with a pool on 10 acres in probably Kajiado County, Kasarian, maybe around Gong, Kimuka, something like that is what I'm eyeing up. So trust me, that's part of the plan as well. How much is Chevel? I think they want 10 million plus for the 1-bedroom. Can't quote you the size. Also, Tattoo City, you need to review. I've been there. They try to control all the media in and out of there. They have been giving me a hard time. Plus, I'm not hype on it. I don't prefer that. I think the hype price premium there is insane. I think you should go there. I would be. I'm more down on it than most people, but I just don't get it. And there's a private company that runs it. That's a foreign company. It's given RoboCop dystopian future vibes to me. The Javali, the off plan that they're doing, like the towers, look really nice, and I mean the views from there would be incredible. I would consider buying it, but the price, they're charging you Westland prices to be in Tattoo City with nothing there. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe if it takes off and it gets more developed and it becomes a better location, but I'm not going to pay for the anticipation of that. I think it's kind of like the SpaceX price. Like people are paying like 1,000 times price to earnings multiple for SpaceX for like maybe they make good money 20 years from now. Why the heck would I pay that price today? Doesn't make sense. In a pickle, what business to start in Nairobi? Maybe you can help. What are you consider? What are your skills? Do something in your skill set. Northlands apartments look simple. I don't know that one. Are people looking for property managers? Everyone's looking for property managers. But what I'm also talking about is building management, like the HOA manager, the people that fix the lift, that maintain the pool, the amenities. That's somebody needs to come into the market with real professionalism and skill to make sure these buildings stay in good condition. Because some of these pools, for an example, be looking a little green. They got broken tiles and they're only 2-3 years old. Like, what's up with the pool, yo? That either could be bad maintenance or it could be bad construction. Because why are the tiles coming off in the first 3 years? A company that could land contracts to manage entire properties reliably would do well. Yeah, I agree. Tattoo is an economic free zone, which, yeah, for businesses, like when I bought my mattress, it came from Tattoo City because they're getting those tax breaks. But just to live there, I don't get it. There's nothing there. It reminds me of my area here, which I guess is what people are looking for, but no one's outside. It's a ghost, like it's ghostly. As soon as building project is done, who is responsible? And so before most of the sectional titles are handed over, the developer has the management, but technically they'll hand it over to the owners. But usually they'll be able to hand it over to whoever the management company or people will be. And if you want to fire them as owners, you have to get together and get rid of them. I want to do that with my first property because they're a joke. It's horrible. And they were like with the developer. I'm sure like if we were able to fire them, we'd find all kinds of mismanagement and the money's probably messed up, to be honest. And this is a big problem with the management that we're talking about with these buildings. Have you checked out Capitol Heights? I looked at Capitol Gardens. Pretty good finishing, but I feel like they can be blocked in very many directions. And then I think Capitol Heights had a partial collapse on the roof during construction, so I took them off of my list. And if I'm misquoting that, I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure it was them. In 3 years, Tattoo City will be the thing because all the ugliness of Westlands area will be displayed. The only land available around the city is Tattoo. Okay, I strongly disagree. Francis, I went there. It got single dwellings around it. Yes? What? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's Capitol Rise is awful. I stayed there for 3 weeks. I know there's a lot of projects, but the ones that are on our radar mostly are usually going to be the ones that you're not underwhelmed with. That's why we talk about them. A lot of these other ones don't even make the conversation. If you're looking for something affordable, I don't know why this popped to my mind, but Berkeley Homes is doing one on Raptor Road, which is going to be interesting, and I think their pricing is quite fair. That's one to look out for. Finish quality, I probably give them a 5, but for what you're paying, and this is the thing, we have different buyer categories, right? So if you're looking for something more affordable, but in a still good location, I think, I don't know what Berkeley Residency, I think they're calling it. Another good one over there is Amto View. Again, quality, but the location's very good on Sports Road. And they have many units available that are likely not to be blocked by other developments. And it has this cool U or circular type shape to it. I kind of like it. Keep it off the list, friends. You know, how to find affordable housing. I'm talking studios, 1 bedroom. Berkeley Homes is priced in that type of range. Woodley Village is in that range. Astra Bay is in that range, but that's not in the city. Not too much else that I'm aware of. Like you could do Shangri-La or whatever that developer's building next, but I don't recommend it. That place is pretty junky. I think the right people will fill these gaps on skills with time. Yeah, that's my argument is a lot of the stuff will get sorted out because it's already high standards now competition. Yeah, because the maintenance is going to be the next phase of like because me personally, I'm about to shift into putting more pressure on the developers to have a better explanation of what their management plan is. Because this is going to be a problem. The other YouTuber couples said that in Kenya, a lot of women have had situations where someone was in their apartment and they had to pay the police. How? How does that even happen? I'm from Holland, and all the building I'm seeing being built are so rough with the painting. Yeah, basically. Most of them. That's why we try to focus on the best ones. Tattoo City, once the company attracts whites, it's a New Zealand company or something. All the action will spring up. All they need is security order and a few activities. I hate this comment. I love you, but I hate this comment. Ryan, as you build your agency up, will your Nairobi employees work remote from co-working space? I really hate when they're having to spend time commuting. What I want is my employees to get commissions and afford to live in the type of projects that we're selling and to be closer. But quality of life is like a big thing. So they usually do work remote now, unless we're meeting with clients. As long as the job is getting done and people are being responded to, then I don't mind the remote. And then we use the co-working space to meet. If we're not, like if we meet clients, we'll do like a consultation and then we may go out. So we kind of, it's flexible. Kenya loves the white man. Okay. We didn't want to be surrounded by whites in Kenya.
Oh God.
Ryan, it's usually maintenance and security guys. Want to pull out of Amethyst? You can get your money back. If you want to contact me, I can assist you in getting your money back if you really want to. I would say at this point, you should wait for that court date to pass by because it's on the 26th. If they don't have a resolution on the 26th, then, but just hit me up. We can help with these things. That we don't charge you guys anything. They say it's going to be a slum in 10 years. People say a lot of things. Are you still hiring or even? Yeah. So, we're going to be hiring another agent, and I think we're going to try to hire a marketing / social media person because the company is its own entity, and I don't want the company to just rely on me. I want our people need to be as good as consulting with clients as I am. And so that's what we're striving. We just really want to make things easier for people. So that's the goal. But we're definitely going to be hiring some more people when I get back. The reason why we can't hire is because I have to train. So I basically take our people everywhere with me and through osmosis and talking about these things. And we don't really hire real estate people. I may try it, but I want our real estate culture to be much different than the local attitudes about selling and integrity and how we go about doing things. Hate it because it's true. Have you considered other markets in the region? I, I, one thing that I've learned about business by being horrible at it for a long time and struggling is that you should perfect certain things first. So I want to perfect the service that we provide clients buying off-plan developments in Nairobi. Then we can spread to villas, single family homes, resale, listing side. We do have some listings, and get that right. Then we need to get out into the counties and be able to sell that inventory. Then, and when I say the counties, I mean Kiambu, Machakos, Laikipia, Meru, Kajiado, basically all the counties around Nairobi. Then we need to do that at the coast. So Mombasa, South Coast, Diani, then North Coast. Then we can look at the West Kisumu area. Then we could look at other places. Rwanda would probably be next because of their business climate, if we can do that, or maybe Uganda. I don't know. Tanzania to me is unbusinessable. How can I get an appointment with you? Go on almasirealty.com/buy and fill out the form and just put your YouTube name, and I'll pull the form and send you an email back, and then we can talk. Is it even profitable, or are you just having fun? Oh, I honestly, we're gonna make more real estate profit in Kenya than I will this year in the U.S. Maybe even gross. That's crazy. I hate my comment. Yeah, I hated it. I'm not looking. I hated the comment. I appreciate your commentary, and I have no problem with any of your commentary. I'm not looking to be paid a salary. I actually want to learn everything about the market. As a person with Somali background, I know Eastleigh and how that works, but I want to tap in with my Dutch mindset. I don't know how all these things can work, but hit me up. I'm always open to have a conversation and build systems. Any red-blooded man will always have fun in Nairobi. I love Nairobi and Kenya. But yeah, guys, yes, I'm buying Belgravia, but I'm still on track. I need 10, 15 acres and build a big house and have some animals, mostly for fun. I think I can do both. I'm actually selling a rental property here in the US because I had a tenant. They messed up the house. They stopped paying rent. I was able to convince them to leave without taking them to court, because if I did that, they would be stuck for months and months fighting with the court, because they give the tenant a lawyer, then you don't have a lawyer, then you got to get one because they use all the loopholes. And then by the time that's done, you spend a lot of money. But I'm probably going to be out maybe $10,000 because I'm still paying the mortgage on the property. Then I got to fix it up. Actually, I'm going over there right now. And dang, shoot, so much time. I got to go. So I'm selling that property. I've made a lot on capital appreciation, but cash flow on rental properties isn't as good as you think because of capital expenditures. So like in the first couple of years, you'll be doing well, but wait till you have a negative thing, like even a roof repair. Okay, if your mortgage spread from the rent to the mortgage minus management, say it's $1,000, which is pretty good. You need a roof repair. It's $8,000 to $12,000. Well, guess what? Your 1 year of net profit is gone. And you're working, and then if you're managing it yourself, you're working for free. It's not that good. That's why, guys, also like real estate's one way to invest in Kenya, but there's capital markets. If you're in the members, I talk about that kind of stuff much more. I'm not promoting any of that stuff, but it's been interesting. I find that areas that overly cater to white people end up attracting some really bad social dynamics. Oh, the young girls at the coast. Yeah, that's crazy. Also, Nanyuki, I really wasn't impressed. It felt expensive. And for being outside of the city, I don't get it. If I'm further out, I want it to be more affordable. Guys, listen to what Ryan doesn't say. If you are smart, you will understand the unspoken words. What? I don't know what that one means. I don't know what you're alluding to for that one, actually. There's a lot of things that I don't say. That's true. But I try to keep things professional. I don't really get into some topics that other people get into. Something I notice, everybody works independently to get clients. In the Netherlands, we have a website where you could just find, yeah, same. The transparency is, but that's why, like for me, I have a lot of passion for the Nairobi market because I think I can really make a difference and help people. And I know that we're helping a lot of people because the lack of transparency, like you really got to know what you're doing to be able to advise clients and propose. Like if there's 40 projects and you get misled to like the one of the worst ones, I feel bad when people end up with that purchase when they could have bought another one that's the same. This is the thing. The pricing transparency, it's a very inefficient market. So the pricing's all over the place. And just because one is priced higher than another doesn't mean the quality is higher than another. That's something that people need to understand that are westernized. Generally, like when you go to the store, if there's 3 blenders, one's $80, one's $20, and one's $150. Generally, the one that's $150 is better, but you're paying for it. In the real estate market in Kenya, I find that you can't rely on that to tell you anything by looking at the price. Remember, as an investor, you are chasing money, not the morals. What the heck? Wondering investors' new Kenyan videos is funny. If you know, you know. Oh, I didn't see it. I don't really watch. I don't watch that much, but maybe I'll. If I laugh, then that'll be cool. All right, guys, I gotta go. Good conversation. Africa needs Africa, and I like that name. I agree. And MH, thank you as a member. Wealth Stack, always in here. And Nerd Novatech was in here. What's up? Michelle Logan, member.
I like this right here.
MH, of course. Guys, we got no super chats. Dang. And I had to debate. I had to get into a whole debate today. How did I do? I thought we had a very healthy conversation. See, people think they're going to, I think people think, I know what I'm talking about. You could disagree, but if you want to dissect my argument, I'm going to be able to break it down. So don't think you're just going to come up here and try to cook me, you know? I'm just kidding mostly, you know, it's all good. Roborich, member. And I think next week we're going to have the rental analysis from my rental property done for members only. Mr. Nigeria should have paid you. And no, I think he, I think it was a good conversation to have. Because you can see two sides. I mean, there are people, there's many, actually, more Kenyans probably agree with him than they agree with me. See you, big man. Thank you. I like that.
I like this right here.
All right, out of here. See you guys later. Appreciate it. Next week, we'll do a members only live after the live.